Namaste, angels. It's going to be the weekly general reading for Sunday, February 11th, yes, through Saturday, February 17th. And I'm going to begin with the 11th and the Christian calendar and the feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes. And I will read from www.franciscanmedia.org in order to do that. The story of Our Lady of Lourdes. On December 8th in the year 1854, which equals 1199 or 11. December 8th is 20 or 11, and 1854 is 99. Pope Pius the Ninth proclaimed the dogma of the Immaculate Conception in the Apostolic Constitution. A little more than 3 years later, on February 11th, 1858, which is 11/11/11/11, February 11th is 11/11, and 1858 is also 11/11. A young lady appeared to Bernadette Soubirous. This began a series of visions. During the apparition on March 25th, the lady identified herself with the words, quote, "I am the Immaculate Conception." Bernadette was a sickly child of poor parents. Their practice of the Catholic faith was scarcely more than lukewarm. Bernadette could pray the Our Father, the Hail Mary, and the Creed. She also knew the prayer of the miraculous medal, quote, "O Mary, conceived without sin," end quote. During interrogations, Bernadette gave an account of what she saw. It was something white in the shape of a girl. She used the word aquero, a dialect meaning this thing. It was a pretty young girl with a rosary over her arm. Her white robe was encircled by a blue girdle. She wore a white veil. There was a yellow rose on each foot. A rosary was in her hand. Bernadette was also impressed by the fact that the lady did not use the informal form of address, tu, but the polite form, vous. The humble virgin appeared to a humble girl and treated her with dignity. Through that humble girl, Mary revitalized and continues to revitalize the faith of millions of people who began to flock to Lourdes from other parts of France and all over the world. In the year 1862, church authorities confirmed the authenticity of the apparitions and authorized the cult of Our Lady of Lourdes for the diocese. The Feast of Our Lady of Lourdes became worldwide in the year 1907. Lourdes has become a place of pilgrimage and healing, but even more of faith. Church authorities have recognized over 60 miraculous cures, although there have probably been more. To people of faith, this is not surprising. It is a continuation of Jesus' healing miracles, now performed at the intercession of his mother. Some would say that the greater miracles are hidden. Many who visit Lourdes return home with renewed faith and a readiness to serve God in their needy brothers and sisters. There still may be people who doubt the apparitions of Lourdes. Perhaps the best that can be said to them are the words that introduce the film, The Song of Bernadette. Quote, "For those who believe in God, no explanation is necessary. For those who don't believe, no explanation is possible." End quote. And that's probably why I don't go over my story over and over again. Because it's like, you know, you just put it out there and people are going to accept it and believe. I'm not here to force anybody to believe in anything that they don't want to. I guess that Mary wasn't either. Moving on the Hebrew calendar, on the 15th, begins the month of Adar. So for that, I will go to www.shabbat.org to let you know what that is. Now, there's two parts to Adar. First of all, it's the month of joy. So it's really, really awesome. And those of you from that were watching me last year, we had a lot of fun during the month of joy. It was very joyous. So hopefully that will be repeated this year. But there's Adar 1 and there's Adar 2 if there's a leap year. So I'm going to read about Adar 1. This month, Adar 1, is an added month to the Jewish leap year, a Shana Mubaret, or, quote, a pregnant year. The Jewish leap year, which occurs 7 times in a 19-year cycle, has 13 months, so that the lunar-based Jewish year, which is 354.37 days, should remain aligned with the solar year, 365.25 days, and seasons. Now I'm just going to go over that little bit real quick. A 19-year cycle, 19 as in the father, has 13 months as in the mother. These are numbers that I've introduced to those of you who are new over the 2 years that I've been on. I probably am gonna have to go ahead and say something real soon about, to those of you who are newer and don't follow everything I'm saying. But 19 represents the father for me, and 13 represents the mother. And it's not a mistake that they're showing up here together, as they often do, and I often point out. It is important to keep the calendars aligned in order for the festivals to retain their positions relative to the seasons as prescribed by the Torah. The added month is called Adar 1, and it's inserted before the month of Adar, which is termed Adar 2 in leap years. Adar is the official happy month, as it is written, quote, "As soon as Adar begins, increase in joy," end quote. In a leap year, we have 2 months of extra happiness. The festival of Purim is celebrated on Adar 14, and it is in Adar 2 in leap years, while the 14th of Adar 1 is marked symbolically by Purim Katan, or minor Purim. And that's it for that. I think I should have found something that had a little story about it, but it's okay, because we'll come back to Adar. We got all month to talk about it, and there's a lot going on this month. There's also on the 14th, of course, Valentine's Day, for those who celebrate that and are interested in that. And that same day is also Ash Wednesday. So for that, I'm going to go to www.wikipedia.org to go over quickly what Ash Wednesday is. Ash Wednesday is a day of fasting, and it's the first day of Lent in Western Christianity. It occurs 46 days or 40 days if the 6 Sundays, which are not days of the fast, are excluded. And this is all before Easter, and can fall as early as February 4th or as late as March 10th. Ash Wednesday is observed by many Western Christians, including Anglicans, Lutherans, Methodists, Presbyterians, Roman Catholics, and some Baptists. According to the canonical Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, Jesus Christ spent 40 days of fasting in the desert, where he endured temptation by Satan. Lent originated as a mirroring of this, fasting 40 days as a preparation for Easter. Every Sunday was seen as a commemoration of the Sunday of Christ's resurrection, and so as a feast day on which fasting was inappropriate. So in other words, we fast all week and we eat on Sunday during Lent, if you're following it traditionally. Accordingly, Christians fasted from Monday to Saturday. Oh, okay, 6 days. I didn't know they were going to go on to explain it again either. Also 6 days they fasted during 6 weeks, and from Ash Wednesday to Saturday, or 4 days in the preceding week, thus making up the number 40 days. Orthodox Christians do this 40 days in a row. Ash Wednesday derives its name from the practice of blessing ashes made from palm branches blessed on the previous year's Palm Sunday, and placing them on the heads of participants in the accompaniment of the words, quote, "Repent and believe in the gospel," end quote, or "Repent that you are dust, and to dust you shall return," end quote. The February 15th, in addition to being the day after Valentine's Day and the first day of the month of Adar, it is also a partial solar eclipse and the new moon in Aquarius. And for that, I think new moons are always about new beginnings, right? New phases, new starts. We get a fresh start every month, so that's always cool. Solar eclipses are about newness as well. This particular one, I've been feeling that it's really going to be like a time to make your dreams come true. And if we've said that before about other months, which I don't believe we had, but if we have, like more so than usual, because again, it's the month of joy, simultaneous to this, and you guys probably who do watch me with any kind of regularity have noticed by now that the new moon phase is always aligned with the start of the Hebrew month. You know, that's how the Hebrew calendar is written, in accordance with the celestial system and the moon phases. So we have the month of joy simultaneous to the start of this new moon and this partial solar eclipse. In Aquarius, which is a sign that is about, like freedom loving, freedom seeking and freedom loving and doing what makes you happy and fulfilling one's dreams. When the star card, for example, in the tarot represents the sign of Aquarius and the planet that rules it, the planet Uranus. That's because it's about dreams coming true, or making your dreams come true, like endless possibilities, and going after whatever you want to go after, even if nobody in the world other than you is interested in going after those things. Aquarians have no difficulty being like the lone wolf. And people say that they do poorly in relationships because of this. They often say similar about the other air signs too, Libra and Gemini, like we have our things about us as well. But Aquarians, because they don't mind, and it is their nature even to be the lone wolf and to not be embarrassed about having a different opinion, or a different, frame of mind or way of thinking. A whole room of people could feel one way about something, and an Aquarian will say something completely the opposite. And, not to be obstinate, or, just, obstinate and opposition to, but because they really feel a different way. And they're good at getting people to come around to that way. How do I know so much about Aquarians? Well, I'm an Aquarius moon. So yeah, but this is what I feel is going to also happen. Again, because of the month. So we have the month of joy, and we have this energy of Uranus and Aquarius of doing what moves us. And in that case, it's going to be what moves us and what makes us happy, what makes us feel joy. The two of them coming together. Because I skipped something. In addition to all of this, it's also Venus, fellow Queen of Swords, in Pisces on the 11th, the same day as Our Lady of Lourdes. So because I have something prepared to read about that too, as opposed to from the top of my head. This is just, I opened up the first thing that when I typed in Venus and Pisces that popped up. So it is www.tarot.com. Venus in Pisces, romantic, intuitive, gentle. Talk about a fairy tale romance. Venus is the love planet. It is in a very happy place when she visits affectionate Pisces. So I've told you guys this before looking at this, leading up to this time. I've been talking about Venus in Pisces at least 2 weeks, right? And what I've been feeling about the love. So add that to what I just said before. So what brings us joy, and now affection and love. So maybe going after what brings us joy and about what we feel affectionate or whom we feel affectionate, regardless of what other people think. Put them all together. Okay. In fact, these two get along so well that astrologers consider this an exaltation. This is a fancy way of saying that Pisces helps Venus express the absolute best of what she represents. So what does Venus represent, right? Venus is the planet of popularity, the planet of love, the planet of abundance, the planet of money. Romance doesn't get any more enchanting than when Venus is in Pisces. Pisces recognizes no boundaries, and loving Venus puts a spotlight in our relationships. Together, they perfectly exhibit an unconditional and spiritual love that transcends all physical limitations. It's true. These two really do make an incredible cosmic couple. When Venus is in Pisces, we will be under a hypnotic love spell while Venus is in Pisces. We'll want to fall in love, be in love, and merge with the object of our affection. It'll be easier for us to connect with our significant other when this planet moves into the sign. Pisces is all about tapping into an alternate dream world so that we can shrug off the stresses of everyday life and focus on romance. While everything seems dreamy and romantic, there is something we need to be cautious of. Venus and Pisces can fog up our judgment to the point that we overlook our partner's flaws. Okay, so be mindful of this. Unless we've had plenty of time to get to know someone, this is not the best time to make a commitment. It's easy to believe in love at first sight when Venus is in Pisces, so we need to take it slow so that we don't end up falling in love with an illusion, because Pisces and Neptune are very illusionary. I talk about this all the time too, like it's like a dream state that this planet can put you into, the planet Neptune. Still, seeing other people in an idealistic light isn't always a bad thing. If we're in a relationship where we felt nitpicky about our significant other's shortcomings, enchanting Venus and compassionate Pisces can make us fully appreciate what we've got. Letting go of control allows us to have a deeper and more meaningful connection with our partnership so that we can experience love in its purest form. When it comes to the money side of Venus in Pisces, it's a great time to cultivate an imaginative or spiritual pursuit and to consider how to monetize it. Venus in Pisces, however, is not about chasing the almighty dollar. This transit would rather have us doing something charitable with our gifts. I did something charitable with mine this week. And today, again, a separate act. Maybe I'll mention them if I have time. I also did something charitable when I told you all to to bet on the Eagles. I told you, I say all the time, what comes out of my mouth, it's not an accident. And it always has meaning, whether I know what it means or not. But that time I knew what it meant. If I make it a point to not begin my love reading until I get a bunch of random stuff out of my mouth, including the fact that the Eagles are going to win, there's a reason why I'm doing that. Why I'm making sure I put it out there before it's too late is so you guys can go get abundant. Go place your bets. So those of you who did, congratulations. And those of you who didn't, next time you know. I don't just do this like for entertainment. There's a lot of people that do. And I would think if you're looking for that, you're not watching me, because I'm not very, entertaining in that sense. But I will help you to, in an organic and genuine and true way, navigate this path with real, genuine, organic messages from Spirit. And that was one of them. Moving on. Because your Venus is in Pisces, you're actually acutely aware of the suffering of others, and your compassion is nearly limitless. You love jumping in and lending help and a helping hand when you see others are in need of one. Your ability to empathize with others comes not just from understanding their pain, but being able to feel it. This is both the blessing and the curse of having Venus in Pisces, if it's actually in your chart placed that way. Oh, somehow my page went down to if you were born with Venus in your Pisces. Okay, no worries. You'll probably spend a lot of time daydreaming because of your natal Venus in Pisces. And you're a bit of an escapist, including in books, movies, or anything else that transports your mind to another time and place. Your Pisces Venus has gifted you with an incredibly whimsical and colorful imagination, and you most likely have an affinity for the arts. As someone with their Venus in Pisces, you like to add a touch of magic wherever you go. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, the planet of psychic sensitivity. Venus is the planet of affection and relationships. So having your Venus in Pisces gives you a heightened ability to intuitively pick up on your lover's every want and need. And while this can be a good thing, you often get so wrapped up in caring for your partner that you neglect to care for yourself. Remember, self-care benefits your relationships in the long run. Venus and Pisces traits are empathetic, playful, sensitive, compassionate, idealistic, sentimental, humble, spiritual, and creative. These don't apply to me in that sense, at least not directly, because my Venus is in Gemini. I'm like air upon air upon air upon air, although I do have some water. That would be My Juno is Cancer, and my Jupiter is in Scorpio. All right, so what else did I want to tell you guys? Lastly, I don't remember what I was doing, but for some reason, I thought about the fact that some planets were like in shadow approaching their retrograde. And maybe because, I don't remember why I thought about this, but I'm going to mention it because after I thought about it, I brought it up to go over with you guys. So those planets would be Saturn, which entered its shadow, RX zone, on January 10th, 2018 in Capricorn. And it doesn't actually go retrograde until April 7th, like official retrograde until April 17th. But some of us still could be feeling this stuff that goes on with Saturn, like the restrictive energy. I guess that's why I brought it up. It must have come up. I must have been trying to explain away some sort of restrictive energy. But also in Capricorn, in its RX zone, going full on retrograde in April, is Pluto. So both of these planets in Capricorn, almost retrograde, in shadow. Pluto and Saturn. All right, so with that, I think that's all I wanted to tell you guys this week. Let's get to the dice, beginning with yes. Stay in bed. And eat cake. Also, if you if you listen to me and you bet on the Eagles and you won, yeah, you can send my my cut, my commission, your tithe to my PO box at PO Box 985, New York, New York 10272. And it says stay in bed. No was the result in the Valentine's Day reading too. And 29. All right, so going to the dice, I'm beginning with Moon. So you guys know that Moon always shows up the week or period of a major moon phase, like a new moon that we're getting this week. Moon always shows up in my actual reading. So I'm beginning with Moon today, and Archangel Haniel. Important psychic insights, events behind the scenes, release fears that hold you back. Moon represents the sign of Pisces. So this can be showing up also because of that Venus in Pisces. And opening to the Sun with Archangel Uriel. Happy outcome, brilliant new ideas that lead to success. If you have confidence in yourself, when the Moon and the Sun show up together, what has been done in the dark comes to light. Moon and the Ten of Water. It could be about friends, getting together with friends, family. Maybe this is a date for Valentine's Day or something, or socializing with others, maybe going to a singles party or something going on at the local club for singles. A contented and rewarding family life. Your emotional and material needs are met, and you have trustworthy relationships. The Moon. Opening to Strength with Archangel Ariel, representing the sign of Leo. Great inner strength. Release fears that hold you back. Instead, exercise some forgiveness and compassion. I feel that this is connected to the 11th, again, that feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes, which is also at the same time the day of the Venus enters Pisces. Strength. And the Wheel with Archangel Michael, a time of positive change. A situation suddenly moves forward and fortune is on your side. The Wheel represents the planet Jupiter for me, which rules Sagittarius, where Mars is right now. So we're going to have the feminine, divine feminine planet of love in Pisces and the divine masculine planet of love in Sagittarius with the wand. That should be interesting. I also connect this card of karma because it represents the planet of karma, Jupiter, karma expansion. growth for me. I also connected to the fixed signs, and that would be Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, and Taurus. The wheel. Two of Earth. I'm not a fan. Many people like the Two of Earth because they like twos, period, I think. You know, twos represent partnership. Twos represent faith. Twos represent duality. I can do everything, right? But for me, it's deja vu from hell for the most part when I see the Two of Earth. Too much going on at once. There's a need to make a decision. Consider a more playful approach. And when I say deja vu for hell, I mean it's like a rerun on TV. You know, like I've seen this before, we've done this before, we've been here before, I'm over it. I would like to move past this space, but we keep ending up back here for some reason. Maybe that will change with the wheel, right? Because suddenly there's a positive change. Something suddenly moves forward. So maybe what has been stuck in the same place all of a sudden is no longer. Two of Earth. And maybe we move on instead to the Ace of Water, falling in love with the resurgence of a relationship. So this can be a brand new relationship. This can be just a new beginning that is quite emotionally fulfilling for us. Or it can be reconciliation of a couple that has been apart for whatever reason or distant from one another. It's the resurgence of a relationship, spiritual growth also. Psychic awareness is heightened, all of this. Enhanced intuition, a new home is also possible. Opposite the Two of Earth, it may very well be about the new home, practical matters, things of the earthly, so material possessions. Today there's also a Capricorn moon, so that can be a reason for Earth to show up as well. As I do this reading, there's a Capricorn moon. And it's the King of Fire, motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic is the King of Fire. Focus, 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 and communicate with vision. Be a leader, maybe even take advice from someone creative if you're not sure how to get your own creative juices flowing. The King of Fire may be the planet Mars in Sagittarius, or maybe an Aries, Leo, or just a Sagittarius on its own without Mars. Or the divine masculine represented by this, right? The King of Fire is the divine masculine of the tarot. What else? It could be the divine masculine period, because again, and not only of the tarot, but in real life too, because again, the planet that represents the divine masculine, Mars, the red planet, would be represented by the King of Fire and does also rule the sign of Scorpio. So this can represent a Scorpio too, or anybody of those traits or attributes. Scorpio, Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. Masculine is awakening, which also for me represents the planet Neptune and the sign of Pisces. Look at things from a different perspective. You're at a temporary standstill. It's important to be yourself. This represents a party of 3 for me also. Being a 12 equals 3. Could be a romantic love triangle. Doesn't have to be though. Could be any kind of third energy that is in the way, including the planet Neptune itself and that sort of foggy, dreamy energy. Now, what is meant by this is, it is very, very important to be true to yourself when you end up in one of these places where you're thinking, you're foggy, and you're saying, you're overthinking, you're overanalyzing stuff, and it can lead you to be presumptuous, and it can lead you to, take action. You're not supposed to take action during this energy. This is the time to really, really try to make sure that you're seeing things correctly. And if you can't be certain that you are, then to wait until you can, find out what's really up, what's really good before you make a move. Otherwise, you could end up being very, very sorry. And it's important to be yourself means it's important to not be reactionary, again, to perhaps what are presumptions anyway, but instead to go with your heart, whether you feel that would make you end up in looking like a fool or whatever, and whatever the case is, you still follow your heart and be true to whatever is you in this moment. Oh man. And surrounding the masculine is the Two of Earth. Too much going on at once. There's a need to make a decision. Consider a more playful approach. Well, if it's a love triangle, they could be juggling, right, two relationships. And that may be what they need to stop and take a look at and figure out which one they actually want. There could also be like, two sets of circumstances. Maybe it's a relationship versus, my family, as in like my parents or my children, or relationship versus my job. I don't get to see my partner because I'm always at work, or I want to move to work somewhere else, and all that kind of stuff, and trying to decide between two things, two practical matters, or a practical matter and a matter of the heart. And that may very well be what it is. When the Lover shows up, it can have to do with a decision. Often for me, not only decision, because for some people it's just a decision period, and it's like a heart over head choice or vice versa. For me, it's not only is it that, but it tends to be a choice between two partners. Like I said, there could be juggling here. So this represents the sign of Pisces. The Lovers represents the sign of Gemini. It can be a water and air coupling that needs to be reviewed and decided upon. What are we doing? And speaking of air, it's the Knight of Air, crowning the feminine. Intelligent, decisive, idealistic, and tireless is the Knight of Air. When the Knight of Air shows up, it's the need to take off, and or things are going to take off. The situation is going to take off very quickly, and we need to act very quickly when it does. Events that occur with great speed. Take time to carefully review your options so you can come up with creative solutions. I really don't know why it says this, because the Knight of Air, in tarot, the Knight of Air particularly represents the sign of Gemini, and we're not going to take too much time to try to figure things out. I'm just being honest. As a Gemini sun, I'm just keeping it real. We're not going to take too much time. We're always thinking, so as we're running, we'll be thinking and trying to come up with a solution. The Knight of Air can also be an Aquarius or a Libra or anybody else taking on those traits or attributes, or it can just, because it's a court card, it could actually represent an actual person. It can be the feminine's energy in general, regardless of sun sign, or it can just be the energy surrounding us that is, again, taking off very quickly. Surrounding the feminine. Release or death, which represents the sign of Scorpio, and is about an ending to something, or the need to be the need for there to be an ending, the need for the feminine perhaps to let go of something and very, very quickly get rid of it, toss it like a hot potato. This can also be transition. Again, we need endings in order for there to be new beginnings, and we're coming upon a new beginning this week. That could be why death is showing up. Death can be here to help us to transform the way that we exist today. We will never exist this way again. We're changing, and tomorrow we'll be existing somewhere else. We're going in a caterpillar. We're coming out a butterfly. That's what death or release, or the sign of Scorpio, or the planet Pluto that rules it. That's what they all represent. It's the end of a phase or situation, the spiritual transformation going on, and it's time to move on. Now, in my Valentine's Day reading, I had death here and the Lovers here. Again, the two of them together represent the real divine masculine and feminine. The divine feminine, again, a Gemini ruled by Venus, and the divine masculine, a Scorpio ruled by Mars. At the root, it's the King of Air, who's brilliant, impartial, professional, and diplomatic. Speak your mind with confidence and seek out professional advice if you need to. Balance mental and emotional considerations. So this is guiding you to think impartially and to be fair, to be just, like a judge. A lawyer, well, maybe not a lawyer, like a judge, some sort of authority who is liberal again, as in fair, not necessarily political affiliation, but that too. If this is involving, if this person is somebody with whom you're in a relationship, he can be very, what's the word? very strong-minded, very strong-willed. Very authoritative, but it's not in an aggressive kind of way. I'm trying to differentiate it, or find the word to differentiate it from like Aries or something, which is also, of course, very authoritative and strong-willed, but in a more in your face kind of way. This is in a more judge with the gavel kind of way, definitive, and I'm making a fair and balanced decision, and my word stands. That sort of thing. If this is a general situation, not a love situation, it can be something involving some sort of authority or legal situation in your life, and there's a need to release any old energy that's attached to it and go with the flow. It's moving, things are moving forward, and they're moving forward quickly, and you got to move too, right? You can't stay in this old energy. Crown in the union, it's balance, which represents the sign of Sagittarius, balance or temperance in the traditional tarot. It's the need for balance and moderation, cooperation and compromise, wait for perfect timing. So crossing this two of earth, again, this can be the need to sort of juggle two things and be fair and equitable with each, giving each their fair time. So I work and play, my relationship and my job, my kids and my boyfriend, or my kids and my girlfriend. We got to figure out a way to do both without hurting ourselves, and or decide what we want. Maybe there's one that we want to let go of. We want to release it because we're also crossing here. There's something that we can get rid of, that we can let go of in order to move forward. I did a personal reading yesterday, and I found, I think there was a woman for whom I was reading who was too, I don't want to say it in a negative way, but the way they came through the cards, her love life, her own love life, was being affected by the amount of time and attention that she puts into her grown son. And the fact that he's getting married. So again, it's not a negative thing. He's getting married in June or whatever. It's not a negative thing, but her love life was suffering. So it's that sort of thing that's coming up with this. And maybe we need to let go of one. Maybe the son, or, is able to do more of it on his own. And she can, loosen the reins a little bit and focus more on her own love life in the meantime. Just an example. I'm not saying I'm not really connecting it to the person for whom I was reading, but it just came to mind as a quick example. A loose example. At the root, the Ace of Water, falling in love, or the resurgence of a relationship, spiritual growth and enhanced intuition, maybe even a new home. So it is again crossing this two of earth. It was side by side as I was doing the shuffling, and I said it could really be a new home because we do have this card which represents the practical, the earthly, material, the worldly. And that could be why the King of Air is showing up. We got to sign papers. We got to go into contract. I'm selling my home. I'm buying a home. We're moving into a new apartment, whatever. We got to make a decision about it. Decision. I want to make sure I'm making a decision that makes sense, that I'm seeing things clearly, that I'm, not being reactionary, that I'm being fair to myself, that I'm being true to myself as in what I want, that I'm not going into this, willy-nilly. If it is a reunion or people getting together, couplings could absolutely be water and fire, air and fire, air and water, air and water, maybe even some air on air we may have. At the heart of the matter, the Eight of Earth, skilled work is rewarded. Learning all there is to know about a topic, and maybe even going back to school. So this is reaping what we've sown, whether it has to do with a material and practical matter, or it has to do with love. We've put effort into something, and so we're receiving a reward, and it's a new, like a blessing from the universe. I'm going to try to further clarify these, or get some more additional meanings perhaps, from the Animal Tarot, beginning with the Nine of Summer. So the Nine of Summer for me is very much like the star, which represents the planet Uranus and the sign of Aquarius. It's dreams come true, wishes granted, a big resounding yes from the minor arcana. Now's the time when your dreams come true. Don't worry about how this will happen. Just give gratitude to God for all that you have and all that's still to come. And opening to another Wheel of Fortune. Expect a sudden positive change in your life. So we can like count on this week. You can now move forward and make great progress. Jupiter says yes. The wheel. Speaking of Jupiter, rules Sagittarius, opening to the Prince of Spring, which may very well be a Sagittarius. Leo, Aries. Passionate, charismatic, confident, and restless is the Prince of Spring. He's the Knight of Wands. An opportunity arises that needs your attention right away. Moving quickly is important. Yet there's nothing you can't handle if you follow your inner intuition. So pay attention to that, because you may be very, very intuitive, even with the wheel. Again, the wheel represents the fixed signs for me as well. Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo. Prince of Spring. And opening to the Nine of Spring. You've worked hard and what you've created is impressive and worthy of protecting. Annoying challenges may pop up, but don't worry. You'll get through them just as you have in the past. So that can be what this is. You've worked hard on something and now you're sort of struggling to keep everything, you know, all the irons hot, as they say, or all the pots on the fire, because you've got too much going on and it's stressful. But don't give up. One more. It's the Four of Summer. Your responsibilities may distract you from noticing all of God's gifts that's being presented to you now. Be open to investigating opportunities that come your way. So that could be talking about this again. You've got so much going on that you're missing like blessings staring you in the face. Perhaps something like an Ace of Water. Because of this, you're missing this. So we want to be careful of that. Mindful of that. Well, I guess we were meant to see this because I'm not done picking up the cards, but I thought I was. It's the Queen of Summer. This is a time of deep emotions and heightened intuition that you can trust completely. Be mindful that you don't ignore your needs while caring for others. We talked about that when I was reading about Venus and Pisces. The Queen of Summer in the tarot, however, represents the sign of Scorpio, like death, or it can be a Pisces or a Cancer or anybody with these traits or attributes, at least this week. But I've ultimately come to the Princess of Winter. So I was just with the Queen of Cups. That represents Scorpio. And now the Princess of Winter, which represents Gemini. So there can definitely be something going on between these two this week. This is an intellectual challenge that calls upon your ability to think of a matching solution. If helpful information is put to you bluntly, accept the message without being bothered by the messenger. All right, just take the message. The Princess of Winter is logical, truthful, curious, but she's undiplomatic. And it's very well a Gemini, at least as far as I'm concerned, but can also be a Libra or an Aquarius or anybody taking on these traits or attributes. And the overall energy is the Chariot. Major Arcana card, the Chariot, which can be about movement or moving, maybe even a new home. Modes of transportation also. Planes, trains, automobiles, something going on with somebody's car. Maybe they're getting a new one. They've earned it. They've put the work in. They've earned it. Maybe they're juggling. They're trying to figure out, how am I going to do this? I've been working extra hours so I can afford the down payment for the home or for the car or for whatever it is, or for the moving truck. But, you know, so that's getting stressful. I'm going to have to find some balance, some healing, some restoration of my energy. Thank goodness the universe steps in, Jupiter steps in, because my karma is on my side and it helps to restore me, to heal me. You can successfully balance. So balance. You can successfully balance various or opposing energies all at once. With determination and focus. You've earned the rewards that you are receiving and the recognition that you're getting. You've earned it. Okay, reaping what we've sown through karma, through Jupiter. But this represents the sign of Cancer, however. or other water sign, Pisces, Scorpio. Oh, there's two. I'm going to leave them. Atop awakening. And again, this potential party of three, I said when we got here that we may have a decision to make about this party of three, or whatever it is about which we are fantasizing. And now the two of winter comes in to say, yep, that was right. Procrastination and worrying about what others will think is blocking you from making a decision. If you're torn between your desires and someone else's, follow your inner guidance. This also came up. Those of you who saw the Valentine's Day reading will see that the two of winter was front and center there as well. Atop the two of earth is the king of summer, who is a Pisces, Scorpio, or Cancer, or somebody taking on those traits or attributes, or, you know, just being really, really loving and trustworthy. The king of summer is warm-hearted, devoted, loving, and faithful. A trustworthy person or relationship enters your life. You may receive wise or compassionate advice from someone who speaks directly from the heart. So this is like just loving advice. It can be maybe about which, you know, about the decision that you have to make, or about how you can balance things out better and, you know, be fair to all involved, including yourself, giving each thing that you need to give time to, you know, how you can go about doing that. Maybe somebody will help you come to that decision. Wow. Atop the lovers, it's the lovers. Okay. True and long-lasting love finds its way into your life. Follow your heart with caring actions and choices. So while for some this is about a decision, for others it is absolutely about love. When it says long-lasting loves finds its way into your life. And we have this sitting here next to the Ace of Cups and underneath the King of Cups. So for some it is absolutely about love. For some it's both at the same time. It's a decision about love. Do I go after what will bring me joy during this month of joy and this week of the first day of the month of joy? Right? Do I grab my balls and go with what I want? Or do I continue to let other people lead me around? Do I take on that energy of Aquarius, that free spirit, and say, screw everything and everyone else, I'm doing it my way, Frank Sinatra style? Or, you know, do I cave and follow somebody else's desires about who I love or what I love? Atop the Knight of Air, it's strength, which represents again the sign of Leo. True strength is displayed through kindness, forgiveness, and compassion. You have tremendous personal power and courage. So maybe what comes up is the need to decide quickly whether or not you're going to forgive somebody. And maybe that would otherwise be difficult, but it's not going to be this time because you have the strength of Leo supporting you. It could be in response to this decision. And we have two twos here, basically. We're each crowned by a 2 or an 11, depending upon how you want to look at it. This 11 may be in response to this 11. We could be awaiting a decision, or we could be making a decision. And in either case, need the strength. The feminine is surrounded by the 4 of autumn. It sits here atop release or death. We could be holding on to something that we need to let go, right? When the 4 of autumn or earth, so it's like hoarding, right? We're holding something really tight. You got to let go of it. You got to allow it to die. And some stuff, it's like but I think that what needs to die here is this old resentment and inability to forgive that some of us are holding on to based on what's here on the masculine side. But for some of us, we need to let go sometimes of our relationships, even with our true partner, so that they can evolve and come back a different way. Because the way that they existed before is never going to exist again. We're moving beyond that. Be cautious about living a life of extremes or seeing things in black and white terms, which is funny because it's crossing this balance card here. And the balance is like In the animal tarot, balance is a zebra, so it's black and white. Balance or temperance. Consider, for example, whether you are spending too much versus hoarding your wealth or hoarding your love, your abundance in any form, or giving too much emotionally, right, versus building up walls that keep people out. That may be what some of the feminine have been doing, building up walls that keep the masculine out. And so we're going to knock down the wall this week. And we have the strength to do that and to hear him out, hear what this decision is, or to make a decision and offer it to him, you know, but in a compassionate way and a fair way, just way, like a knight or king of swords would do, or a queen of swords for that matter. At the root, here atop that king of swords is the 6 of summer. So we may very well be making a decision about a soulmate relationship. We've got this 6 opposite, mirroring the masculine's 6 times 2, because he has these 2 lovers cards here. His are major arcana, ours are minor. The love and care of children could become an important part of your life, or people from your childhood may return to it. Old memories can be healed, or possibly old childhood dreams are ready to be revived. Also, this card can represent soulmate relationships or past life relationships. And so this can be like the Ace of Cups next to which it sits, about reconciliation, about, you know, reconnecting, somebody from your past coming back, an ex returning, or, you know, getting back together for some sort of reunion with somebody. It can also be a friend if it's not, but it's somebody about whom you care, with 2 lovers having shown up and the Ace of Cups and the King of Cups. I mean, who are we kidding? It's somebody about whom you care. So it could be like a BFF or, you know, a lover. For some of us, we could have a situation going on with our child or children, you know, that they do something that makes us happy too. But I think for the most part, that's not what it is. Crowning here atop balance or temperance, it's another king of winter. So we have one here, we got one here. As at this time, it's very important that you communicate clearly, be objective and unemotional, and act as professionally as possible. If you need advice, seek out the most experienced expert that you can find. So you're guided here with this temperance, which is, again, a healing energy, a very karmic of Jupiter and Sagittarius healing energy to restore you. And you're going to want to be fair with everyone that's involved in that situation, again, including yourself. Like, don't forget you in this. And again, we have a king now of winter crossing a king of summer. We have this air and water once again. At the root, above the Ace of Water, it's the 3 of Water. I think it's a celebration. We're happy about this Ace of Water, about our new home or our reconciled relationship or our brand new relationship or the birth of a child. Sitting here next to the 6 of Summer. That can be the case too. Or that we're pregnant. And whatever the case is, we're not going to worry. That the 3 little birds came up last week. It was Bob Marley's birthday. And that song, 3 Little Birds, don't worry about a little thing. Every little thing is going to be all right. Here, clearly, we don't have to worry. It's sitting here atop the Ace of Water. You have an exciting reason to celebrate, such as an engagement, a wedding, a graduation, or a birth announcement. Remember to cherish those you love. And on this side, we have it sitting here again next to these 2 lovers. So I think that we're celebrating love in one form or another. And perhaps this is going out for Valentine's Day, or, you know, the day before or the day after, or in celebration of at some point, or celebrating at home, whatever the case. Atop the 8 of Earth, where we are reaping what we've sown, is the Moon and the Tower. So the Moon, I think what we're reaping, what we've sown here, this is coming through more so as Pisces than the Moon, and the new beginning that the new moon and solar eclipse is going to represent, which is probably why we had the Moon and the Sun together before. I didn't put it together in the beginning of the reading, but the Sun was probably representing the solar eclipse and the Moon was probably representing the new moon. But this is a new start, and it's a brand new opportunity that we've earned here too. in love or in work, in whatever area of your life. It's important to trust your intuition, even if you're unsure of what's happening. All will be revealed soon. So worry is unnecessary. Didn't I just say don't worry about a thing? Every little thing will be all right. Whatever you've reaped, it's coming in. You don't have to worry about how it's coming in or when. Just trust that it is. And when it does, it's going to sweep you off your feet, tower style. Life experience is the Tower, Major Arcana card 16. Important changes are coming into your life that will require you to take action. Don't hesitate to move in new directions that you know are right for you. And that's that. Some of us are going to be swept off our feet by love and happiness and joy and celebration. Some of us because we've finally made a major move in our life and perhaps moved into a new home or, you know, away from someone or something toxic. Whatever it is, it's all for the best. Once we're thinking clearly and being true to ourselves and, you know, can make or receive this decision with like a clear and fair mind. Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you guys this week with the general. So last week I did all that talking about 3:16. For God so loved the world, he gave his only son. I didn't at the time connect it to, I didn't connect it to either one of these things. I didn't connect it to Lent, which it came to me later on in the week that was involved as well. He gave his only son. We're this week, again, is Ash Wednesday. That is the 40 days of Jesus in the desert, being tempted by the devil, leading up to his crucifixion and then resulting resurrection. So that's connected. And also all the death that I had unfortunately seen in the Leo full moon reading. And actually we have Leo crossing the moon here and the Tower. This can be coming through because of that, because it just popped into my head now to tell you this. I had seen that, and I was hoping at the time that it was just about making amends and making peace. And it seemed like it really was going to be for a long time. And then this last week, we did start to lose quite a number of males in different, like I saw, there was actor, there was musicians, and some of my clients, some of my viewers / Facebook friends and all of that, some of you lost male, specifically loved ones. So my condolences to all of you, but I absolutely connected it to 3:16, that your loved one and you know, those other people who passed, those other gentlemen, you know, who passed, they're somebody's loved one too. They were being a representation of the sun, essentially. Like they gave themselves, you know, similar. We're made in God's image, and you know, so we're all connected. So like Jesus, this is the way it came through, that these men were also sort of given to God or brought back home by God in the sense that he gave his son. And that's why they were all men. Every last one of them that passed away, whether it was somebody that was connected to the collective and you know, that I learned that way, or it was a celebrity, they were all male. There was something else about that too. Oh, I'd also started to get Exodus 3:14. I am who am. Tell them I am who am sent you. And that was all connected with these losses. So again, my condolences, and I didn't mean to go into it. I just got, when these things come up, I gotta say them. I also wanted to give you an abundance card for this week. And we're going to begin with God as your source. Everything you need is supplied by the infinite source of God, and your faith opens the doorway to receive. In God, there is no lack or limitation. Rather, there is plenty of abundance for all to share. And opening to dreams of abundance. As you sleep, God and your angels and your higher self are giving you divinely guided ideas, answers, and solutions. Be sure to record your dreams in a journal because they contain valuable insights that will help you to manifest your desires into reality. I'm not going to shuffle these too much, maybe just one more. And opening to employment change. Your career path is leading you to a higher direction with positive changes to support your dreams, priorities, passions, and life purpose. Trust that these changes will help you to release old and welcome the new. So that can be what's going on here too with this tower sitting atop the 8 of Earth. You've earned a new job. You've earned an employment change. A promotion, a raise. Dreams of abundance. Detox your friendships. Your abundance flow is being affected. That can be what you have to let go of here too. Some of us could be holding on to relationships, friendships, and things that could be with about what the masculine has to decide. Maybe there's a friend who's getting in the way of his love life, and I want to hang out with my friend, but then I can't see my woman, or I can't see my man, or whatever the case is. You gotta, if they can't exist mutually, and it's been time for you to let go of the friend, then you gotta let go of the friend, or don't. Don't. That's up to you too. It's your choice. It's your will. Similar to what I saw for Valentine's Day, that we all had the potential to have a really, really awesome and loving Valentine's Day, or not. Like, it was all laid out there where it could happen, but our will is required. Like, we have to make the call, give the invite, whatever the case. So that's what I'm getting with this too. Your abundance flow is being affected by the people with whom you're spending time. So be discerning about your associations and relationships, and choose instead to be with people who are inspiring, generous, and supportive. And the overall energy is unlimited ideas. Your mind is one with God's infinite mind. Therefore, you have complete access to unlimited ideas, guaranteed to bring blessings. All you need is to take divinely guided action to allow these ideas to come to fruition. I did that backwards. Normally I would have left it. Once I do it, like, that's it, but I don't know. I was moved to change it. So it is what it is. Masculine, 4 of summer. Your responsibilities, which we saw as I was shuffling, there they are, may distract you from noticing all the gifts that God is presenting to you. Be open to investigating those opportunities that come your way. Feminine, 5 of winter. Like I said, we have the potential for something really, really awesome, but it's our will. We could fuck it up, or we can make it happen. It's up to us. Your current path isn't leading you toward the happiest possible outcome, so why not change it? Always maintain integrity and compassion, like the Knight of Air or the King of Air. They're always going to maintain integrity and compassion, but be alert to hidden agendas of others too, that may get you to do something that you don't want to. Which is why I was saying with the Hangman energy, it's important to be true to yourself. Like, somebody else can get in your ear and say, oh girl, you've been waiting too long for that decision. Don't let him, give you any decision. You need to whatever. And you could follow that. But if that's not being true to your heart, if that's just something that's being fed into your mind and is going to take you in a direction that's off of your path, and then later you're going to be like, but now my heart's talking and I'm listening and it's too late, I messed it up. What was that other person's agenda? That so-called friend. They derailed you. So that's the kind of thing you got to be careful with here. Masculine, you got a better one. It's the 6 of air. Things are looking up and it's the end of a difficult situation. You may even be taking a trip. Maybe that's why the chariot showed up, right? Chariot, travel, movement, planes, trains, automobiles, maybe going to visit somebody to celebrate with them. We have a recess or something from school coming up. Maybe somebody's in school with the 8 of Earth here and they're about to get a break and they can travel, President's Day or whatever it is. In any case, things are getting better and we're moving into calmer, stiller waters. So you're going to forget about the troubles. Feminine, look at us. The 5 of Earth now. Fears surrounding money, the wisdom to accept help from others, and uncertain self-employment. So let's hope that this is representing for us this week, at least for the majority of us, instead the wisdom to help others rather than lack or worry about lack, right? There's no need to worry. Don't worry about a thing. Everything's going to be all right. The Ace of Water is on its way. If we unblock our blessings by letting go of the old stuff to make way for new. If you don't, then yeah, lack. And from the abundance angels for the masculine, have courage to ask for and accept help. Asking for help is a sign of strength, as is accepting it if it's offered to you. Very often when you ask God for help, prayers are answered through other people. Be sure to accept this assistance as well as giving it to others as you are guided. So let's say you ask God, God, please send me some money. You know, I'm trying to do 2 things. I'm trying to go on a date for Valentine's Day, but I gotta, you know, pay some bills. I got responsibilities. I'm trying to make a decision between love and the practical. What do you do? And then God sends you someone who's going to give you heartfelt advice, someone who speaks directly from the heart about practical matters, about money matters. It can give you some sort of, you know, compassionate or loving you know, advice into your situation and how you may be, you know, able to better it. Maybe you know somebody who's a bookkeeper or an accountant, you know. That was the first thing that came to my mind because that's me. That's what I am. But maybe you got a friend like that. They can talk to you about that. A banker or something. Maybe an actual banker that's not your friend comes through and had dropped in the mail some sort of like pre-approved credit card or something that you've earned that from your hard work. You've been paying your bills and you weren't expecting it. You know, it's unknown to you that this thing is on its way to you, but it is because you've earned it. So all of a sudden that turns up, overwhelms you with joy because you can do the things that you wanted to do. God used a person to deliver you what it is for which you've asked. So you got to be open to receiving things from people, even though you maybe normally wouldn't. Maybe normally you wouldn't apply for a card. You didn't want any more credit cards. Maybe you normally wouldn't take financial advice or a loan or something from a friend. But this week you are guided to, masculine. Be sure to accept this assistance as well as give it to others as you are guided. So, you know, if you have the, you know, resources, financial, material, otherwise, energy, time, something that you can donate to somebody else, or if you if you watched my video last week and you want to bet and you got, you know, money, you can tithe or whatever, like that sort of thing. I kid. You guys know I'm joking, right? I hope so. In any case, feminine, last but not least, conscious consumer. You have the power to heal and to help the world with your decision to buy only products and services that are ethical and environmentally friendly. As a conscious consumer, you choose to invest fair trade and organic goods, and you live simply, and you purchase only what you need. So the feminine is guided not to be wasteful this week and to maybe think before she pays. One year, one summer, I went, actually one time, not really one summer, one time I went like 2 years or 2 summers without sandals because I couldn't find any that were made in America. And I just refused to do made in China at that. It became like the principle. So it's that sort of thing that it's talking about. Okay, guys. So I'll be back with love and a moon reading. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one and that you find it helpful in getting you through your general energy this week. Namaste, angels.
My feet won't touch the ground.